I'm 32 years old and I'm still learning who I am. I'm Rhiannon and I'm the active autist, and today I'm going to share with you a little bit about masking. Not a fitness video today, actually just a video about a part of autism which has dominated most of my life, and that is masking. I'm not going to give you scientific facts or definitions, but my own experience of what masking is and how I'm still learning who I am at 32 years old. Masking is something that neurodivergent people unconsciously do, and I say that because I think there might come a point where you realise that you can do it intentionally to manage to deal with situations. But for me, growing up without a diagnosis and not really understanding social cues in the same way, the reading body language, that sort of thing, masking's like a persona that you have to put on like a mask to hide your true self. It helps you to fit in places that you can't be yourself. Masking is absolutely exhausting, and before I was diagnosed, I used to have quite regular, meltdowns. It makes me feel like I infantize myself when I say meltdown, but everything would get very overwhelming very fast. And I think that was because all of my energy would go on masking, on trying to fit in, on trying to be this persona, this version of me that I felt I needed to be. And I didn't even realise I was doing it. So it's just something I would do around people and just trying to fit in. And yeah, very tiring. And just like for lots of autistic people, it is masking that helps you get through life. So there are many situations where my real self, my real thoughts, my resting bitch face, if that's a thing, couldn't have got through, but because I was able to mask, I did. So customer service jobs, for instance, where I'm on the go all the time and needing to be super smiley and happy and not overwhelmed, that would be a masked version. At family events, a masked version. And really it's only been in the last couple of years that I've realised who I actually am. When you're autistic, you spend so long trying to fit in and absorbing everything that everybody's doing and trying to take these different parts of people's personalities or their body language to mimic it back, to try and be normal, that you kind of, at least I didn't really know who I was and who I am. That would be down to the music that I listened to, the books that I liked, the TV shows, even the people that I found attractive, all based around people I spent time with growing up. And I have this very, like a core memory of a group of friends that I had who really liked this particular song or singer, and I really didn't like it, and they put it on, and you know when a noise is jarring, I don't mean lots of noises are jarring, but this person, I didn't really enjoy it. But rather than say that or acknowledge it, I just learnt to like it. And that was the first time that I consciously made a decision to like something that I don't think I like. And it didn't really happen again for a long time. So it was really interesting that there was that one moment that I can recall. What would often happen with masking for me is that I would get through an event or a stressful situation, and then a couple of hours later, a few days later, I would just completely break down, and through exhaustion, overwhelm, just because it had taken all my strength to get through this situation. And actually, since I've been diagnosed and understanding and actually realizing what masking is and how it impacted me, I've been able to try and be more authentic. And I'm quite big on the word authenticity because I've never been able to be authentic. I've never known who I am and what I stand for. Did I like that song or not? Because by the end of whatever process I went through, I did like it, and I still like it today. But I know that I didn't like it. And so things take a long time to work out who I am. But now I am kind of being more authentic, or perhaps it is feeling more comfortable with myself. I mask less. And the great thing about that is I have less and less breakdowns and meltdowns, whatever word you want to call them. I cry less about nothing, because it would never be the event itself I would cry over. It would be something completely unrelated, but that would be the thing that broke the camel's back. That would be the thing that would knock me over the edge, and it would cause difficulties in relationships, with family, friends, with partners. And by understanding what masking is and how it has affected me, I've been able to unmask to a degree. And by unmasking, I've almost taken that pressure off myself. It's okay to struggle in situations that other people find stressful. And by allowing myself to have that knowledge, I take the pressure off myself to just succeed and just do. And actually, it has helped so much with regulating myself and just getting through different things. So that's been great. In terms of being more authentic and unmasking, masking has allowed me to get through a lot of things in life that otherwise I might not have coped with, or I might not have even tried. So there has been some benefits of masking, but overall benefits of not masking are much greater now. The reason why I pursued a diagnosis was because I had a quite stressful sales job in London. I worked from home, but we had a team meet once a month, and the first month I went down after getting the job was Christmas, so it was a party, and I don't really party. It's not a thing that I do. I don't drink. I used to really enjoy a rave, but I think that was maybe my years of reckless abandon where I did silly things. So actually I did used to really enjoy a rave. I think if you can lose yourself in the music, you're not masking. So for me, actually, they were really good nights. But I left those behind when I graduated university. I don't know, I think I just moved away from those sorts of people and those sorts of like environments, nights out and things. They weren't so much a thing where I moved to. And I just had other priorities, I think, at that point. So I went to London for this work team meet / Christmas party thing, and I had been masking all day and it had been quite stressful, and then they had this very loud party with an awards night, and I just completely shut down. I couldn't speak, I couldn't think, and there was lots of banging the tables and clapping and loudness. It was that experience that actually, I guess, pushed me to seek a diagnosis, because I didn't understand. It never happened. I'd never shut down. Meltdowns were normal, shutting down was not. And it was like I was in complete sensory overload. I'd managed to get through the day. I was absolutely exhausted. I didn't want to stay for a party, but I felt as though, you know, I needed to do that. It's a part of the thing. I put myself through it. I should have really said, this isn't my thing, I'm going to go. But as it was the first time I'd ever been to the office, that wasn't really appropriate, and I just shut down. So yeah, I spent a bit of time researching what that could be and why it was like my brain had turned off and I almost went into survival mode. It was like, just get through this. That's all I could think about. And when the rest of them were going out, I left and went home. I managed to get myself up and I went to a hotel, which is another stressful thing that I didn't really enjoy. But that was why I started looking into autism and ADHD, is because I needed to understand what had happened, because I didn't like it. I'd never felt like it before, and I definitely didn't want to feel like it again. I'd never really heard of sensory overwhelm. I knew that I would find certain things stressful, but I would just get on with it, because that's what you do. You have to get on, you've got to fit in and be normal and just persevere, put yourself through stressful situations for the sake of it, because if everyone else can deal with a busy shop, why can't I? The reality is though, my brain doesn't work that way, and actually my diagnosis has allowed me to realise that and allowed me to be easier on myself, which has led to me not shutting down, not being overwhelmed, and just managing my stresses, my anxieties, my unease a bit better. Nowadays, I am very aware when I mask, I almost feel myself putting it on. I've spoken to different therapists about it, and some of them describe it as different hats. You wear different hats for different tasks or jobs or occasions, and that's fine. But I think there is a difference when it comes to wearing a different hat and masking, because when you're wearing a hat, you are purposely changing who you are because of the requirements of a situation. Masking is more of a unconscious thing a neurodivergent person will do in order to cope and survive life, not necessarily stressful situations, but just life in general. So that is a big difference. So when I put my different hats on now, it can still be tiring, but I can then factor in that I need a break afterwards, So if I want to go out shopping to a city and getting the train, I know that's going to be a stressful journey. So I have coping strategies in place, which you can't do when you're masking, because when you're masking, you're trying so hard to be normal and fit in. The last thing you're able to think about or implement is a coping strategy, because really your coping strategy is to mask and be this version of you that you believe you need to be. Oh, I've waffled a lot. It's early in the morning. But it was a good use of time, I think, just to jump on. And I really wanted to talk about masking because it is something that so many people do and don't understand. My friend came up to me the other day, she's watched a couple of my videos, and she said that she hadn't realised her son is most likely autistic. And she used to pick him up from school as a kid, a young child, primary school age, and he would sob the whole way home. And she'd ask him why, what's happened, what's wrong. And I think now she looks back with this new understanding that he had been absolutely exhausted just by trying to get through the day at school. And it wasn't his mum that he was sad with, and it wasn't necessarily that anything bad had happened. It was that when he got in that car at the end of the day, that was a safe space where he felt able to let that mask down, and then all those emotions would bubble up and the exhaustion, because masking is so tiring, so tiring. And I think that's a good example of how when you're overwhelmed, and if that leads to meltdowns, it isn't always at the time of the thing. It can happen after the fact. Hopefully this has been useful. Masking's hard to talk about, I think, because it's something that's so subconscious. It's hard to verbalise and put into words, but hopefully I've done an okay job. It's essentially a mask that you wear to survive and cope with situations that neurotypical people can just do. A lot of it is based on copying and mimicking other people to give the expressions that you think are right. Of course, it probably makes you look wrong because you're focusing so much on how much eye contact to make, how much to smile, where to have the inflection in your words and everything, that it probably makes you seem odd anyway. Masking is absolutely exhausting, and it was a time in London that the exhaustion caused me to shut down and have be completely overwhelmed with all of my senses. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. If any of what I've said today resonates with you, let me know your own unmasking story as well, because I think a lot of people, autistic people, late diagnosed as well, are now starting this journey of unmasking. And if you do want to share anything, I'd love to hear it. So let me know with a comment below, or if you prefer, pop me an email or reach out and let's have a chat, because I'm still learning how to unmask, and it's made easier by having people who get you. I'm very lucky, my wife is very on board, my family, but some people don't have that. So please reach out if you do need a friendly face. I truly believe that my diagnosis was life-saving, not just because it enabled me to prioritise my health and lose some weight and all of the good benefits that came from that, but actually because it's helped me take that pressure off myself, which has helped me not feel as exhausted or tired, not get as overwhelmed. It's been really useful. Feel free to have a look on my website. I've made some free guides. These are mostly based around fitness, and I'm also going to write a blog, I think, on masking, and I'll try and release that shortly to coincide with this, but it'll probably get delayed. Have a great day.